Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddham dhammang sangham namasami. So this is half moon day of November, the time to reflect on our life, how we are doing, how we are practicing in the monastery. And tonight, this evening, maybe I'll talk about structure of the monastic life here. If you're a monk or nun, monastics, you're very familiar with these words, Navaka, Majjhima, Thera. This is the term to describe what is the right way. Navaka means the Pali word new, that applies to first 5 years as either bhikkhu, siddhadara 5 years training, and then the next one is Majjhima, middle, that means middle, so next 5 years. And the next one will be Thera, Theri, elders. So this is not what Amaravati creates or Ajahn Chah's tradition holds, but this is according to Vinaya. So it's a 1,000 years tradition we follow. And like end of the Vassa, when we finish the Vassa, our, let's say, Vassa numbers, one more number added, 4 to 5, first 1, 2 to 3, or now I finished the 5 years, no more Navaka, or now it's 10, Thera, Theri, that kind of, just inside the monastic, we would say, maybe not much to do with the lay community. Also, yes, we have a novice, samanera or samaneri, and anagarika. So English translation might be a postulant and novices. So there's a structure, and very much the seniority structure is quite strongly held in this tradition. And whether we like or not, we can relate or not, but just this is something we learn how to live with. And also it can bring us various feelings or ideas. Possible strong element is the element of becoming. I want to, or I will become a monk, I will become a Thera, Theri, or if not, when can I finish Navaka period, this kind of becoming, and also very worldly way of saying it is status, condition, something like this. Just for the community to explain what is actually Navaka means first 5 years. This is an initial period of training. So what requires is when you, main thing is you need to have a acharya, the teacher. So you are first period of training, so you need to, for instance, seek for permission, guidance, whatever you do. So you are under guidance of Thera, Theri, so elder. And Majjhima means you are not anymore Navaka, so you are maybe independent, so you can make your own decision. It's not like you have to seek permission, but you are responsible for what you do. Typically, symbolically too, like in Thailand, after 5 years, monks would have a chance to go more extensive period of tudong. Nowadays, the forest, the natural condition of Thailand is very different, so the tudong for longer period is not necessarily easy as used to be many decades ago, but still it can be seen as a time for tudong, exploring various possibilities, different monasteries. That also happens to our community, going to different country, different monastery, living with different teachers, exploring the possibilities. And then Thera, Theri, after 10 years, elder means technically you can have disciples. So it's a, you can say very straightforward structure. First 5 years, yes, you really start, learn. So you need to have guidance. And next 5 years, okay, try it out on one's own, learn how to stand on one's feet, something like this. And then now having learned through 10 years, now you are now to support, help others, newcomers. So that's, there's a clear logic there. This kind of structure may bring us the various possible feelings. For instance, you hear Nawaka, why do we have to ask for always permission? I'm old enough, I know, and I'm grown up, adult. Why do I have to seek for permission? I feel like controlled. I'm just exaggerating, but that kind of feeling might arise, not to necessarily everyone, but certain people. Because our life as a samana, monks and nuns, doesn't matter how old you are physically, physical age, or what kind of education you have, what kind of work experience, professions, jobs, or even meditation experiences, meditation careers. Doesn't matter. Once you become ordained, you start from day one. You know. And so you need a guidance, you need to ask for permission, but possibly your mind would say, why do I have to do this? Why can he have the right to allow this or even refuse? Come on, I know what to do. I have enough life experience. I have enough intelligence. Why do I have to do that? Kind of feeling may come out. Or, okay, 5 years I can endure. Then after 5 years, eventually I have a freedom, quote unquote. I can do whatever I like to do. I'm slightly exaggerating, but the mind can react like this. And then also, well, when can I be a senior monk? Looks like a very privileged position. You can do even more than anything you want, anything you like to. Or I want to be in charge, I want to be the abbot. I don't say this is true to everyone, but some may. Or the other way, no, I really feel it's a scared idea to be a Teri teacher. No, I want to be just quiet. I want to be a Nawaka forever. So that kind of things, possibly various feelings, resistance, or wanting to be this way, that way, that we know this possible element is becoming bhava. And so when we think of, although this kind of feeling, ideas might arise, but always where we need to remember what we need to remember is who we are, what we are for, And how often I reflect. What I reflect is what is the bhikkhu or what is the samana. And then often, since when I was in Thailand, many times I was taught and reminded the samana or bhikkhu is the one who sees the danger in samsara. So if you seek for becoming, names, status, where can I need more, how can I come out of this? It's this habitual drive to do something, to become something, to get something. Sometimes we're not aware, sometimes we don't question, but it's a quite strong even drive we have. But when you remember and reflect on this word, the one who sees the danger of samsara, cycle of birth and death, or gain and loss, or success and failure, this side, that side, past, future. So this all possible cycle, repetition of the pain and suffering. And when you think of this word, the danger, to see the danger of the samsara, why we are here, this is just a single purpose. Single purpose is really liberation. What you see as a liberation, this is something we need to learn, reflect, and cultivate. But liberation, or in terms of Four Noble Truths, we say non-suffering. No, this is, we really need to remember and hold it in a center of our being, always, to remember and to come back. But also this expression of to see the danger of the samsara. So this gives us a context. Yes, liberation, yes, but the liberation as to what? So the word danger of the samsara, that also gives us a context, who we are, where we are, or what kind of beings we are, what kind of conditions we are having, or we are in the middle. So this gives a full perspective of why we are here, what we are doing. And the structure comes Navaka, Majjhima Thera, or different names, even novice and monk, nun. I want to, when, how, I can't wait. And if once you become a monk, bhikkhu or siladhara, when can I finish Navaka? Then I can free. Or when can I become Thera, Theri? Possible reaction like this. It's not like we shouldn't feel, we shouldn't think like this, but by remembering the danger of the samsara, the becoming, the force of becoming, we become more conscious of it. So, because in a monastic life, we have a forms, vinaya or sila, discipline, vinaya or various disciplines. But instead we become possibly lost there to have a perspective of seeing the danger of the samsara. So then we can learn how to relate to the forms. And today I'm saying this Navaka, Majjhima, Thera, this kind of things. And because I sometimes hear, not directly, but I can sense people think, oh, eventually I finished the 5 years of Navaka. Now I'm free. I can decide on my own. Something like this. But even you're Navaka, novice, but it's really whatever, let's say, status-wise, I don't particularly like this word status. I would say more like this a phase. Phase, like in a life as a human being, when you are young, we need to live with young energy, changing energy, ambitious, but also uncertainty. You need to grow. That is the phase of our life when we are young. And then we become adult, mature, and then getting older, and then towards the end. So it's just a phase, almost like similar to the seasons of the year, spring, summer, autumn, winter. So it's just instead of seeing status, this next, I want to be higher, I want to be more. We may see in that way, but possibly I would prefer to see just the phases. Initially being a Nawaka, because we are new, Nawaka means new, we need to learn. So that's the phase, so how to relate to the form. But still, in the middle, I repeat again, seeing the danger of the samsara, why we are here. We never forget this. We really need to come back here. So in that sense, if we forget this and we just think of the forms always, then why I'm like this, and then they having a better deal, I want to be this, just thinking of the future, comparing with others. So like we may lose true sense of integrity in ourselves. Ajahn says this, we are like this, therefore I'm not really why I'm like this, why they can't think this. It's just the mind can say this, but whatever phase you are, whatever phase we are in, we shouldn't lose the true sense of we are in charge of our life. Just in a different phase, our relation to the form should change, but always remembering what is the most important thing. Where is actually our integrity lies. We can come back there. We should come back there. And why, I just do slightly back and forth, why this structure of Nawaka, Majjhima, and Thera exists. I said new. Anyway, it's understandable if it's a new, you need to learn. And as I said, regardless whatever you had experience in the world, physical age, education, and so forth, but once you come to the monastery and starting a monastic life, it is, I can say, very different, very unique way of living we have. That's why even if you have enough intelligence, enough knowledge, enough life experience and so forth, but once you come to this monastic form, we need to learn from the day one. Why is this? Because when we think of the life in a monastery or life as a monk or nun or samana is also a very beautiful word, difficult to translate. Some people translate as a renunciant. Possibly what it means often like a mendicant, particular lifestyle. And so here, in the monastery, it's not a place to make a profit, or we have to work there because in order to survive. No, how our life is possible here is totally based on people's generosity. Once we take the 10th precept, right now we had a David community took 8 precepts. The 5 precept is really what moral means. Refraining from all unskillful things, aksara, kamma. So the 5 precept is like bringing us, the human being, each person, to be safe, to bring integrity, to be fully responsible how we are. But 8th precept is something more, like we don't eat in the afternoon. Nothing wrong about in terms of morality. If you eat you eat in the evening, you're doing something wrong. No, not at all. But it is more like 8th precept is one level further, making more restriction on sensuality. You can say precept of renunciation. So that's why we don't eat in the afternoon, in the evening, or beautification, adornment, this kind of things, or lying on a luxurious sleeping place. This is all to do with comfort, nice feeling, pleasant feeling, sukha vedana. So just to keeping more distance to this sukha vedana, which is in itself is nothing wrong in terms of moral, but in order to strengthen our mind. Okay. And then simplify our life. We take 8 precepts. Now, 10 precepts. I don't have to go too much detail, but essence of it is the 10th precept. It's about relinquishing or giving up the money. So this really changes our relation to the world. Typically, when we have a pabbajja ceremony to take 10 precepts, we are given, or we should have, bowl and robes. So the bowl for alms round, robe to be a mendicant, to be a samana. So until then, 8th precept is almost like you've given up the sexuality, particularly if you think of the 3rd precept. But once you come to 10th precept, giving up money means we totally become, in a way, vulnerable to the world. We lose the control. Like you can't choose. If you have money, at least, okay, this looks better. I prefer red to white. This looks more healthier, But once you take 10 precepts, let go the money. So it means whatever is given to us, we receive, we appreciate. This is a totally different way to relate to the world. In the world, yes, people work hard and then get the money or exchange the services, goods. So this is how human society functions. But what unique, very unique about this mendicant life is not about I pay, therefore I receive this, but genuinely we become dependent on kindness, generosity of lay people. And this is happening more than 2,000 years. It's really amazing. And being a monk, being a nun, like living in this Amaravati Monastery where we are so wonderfully supported, but sometimes it is a bit awful to say, but if sometimes we may see things, take things for granted, we forget how much we forget, or we do not notice how much care, effort, physically, emotionally, financially, they have to drive here long distance or prepare this, or instead of like we see so many people in the weekends, but instead of doing other things, let's say enjoying weekends, entertainment, or having a restful days, but they make an effort to come to the monastery, for instance. So nothing we can't take for granted. But because it is so well established, the system, and then we have been taking care so well, so sometimes I'm a bit careful to say, but we can forget, might forget, or take for granted. But this is really so. I mean, if you go to Tudong or go to Bindabat in the Bhakamsa, the Hemel or other towns, yes, we know what mendicant means, what people's generosity mean to us. But once we are here, we may become less aware of this. So that's being a mendicant, So how to relate to those who come to us with a genuine generosity. It's not like they come here to get something, name, status, anything. No, of course not. But a genuine kindness, genuine generosity. So this is almost, we can't see something like this. We can't see anywhere else in the world. So even if we have a clever idea, very intelligent mind, life experiences, but here the principle that's supporting us is totally different, totally new. So that's why we need to learn what is it, what is to be a mendicant, what is this to receive the generosity from others. So that's why from day one, okay, we are the person to learn. And also, everybody knows, I talked about the 5 precept, 8 precept, and the 10 precept, 10th precept. And also we have a more Vinaya rules, disciplinary codes, many of them. So how to relate to it? This is quite a central part of life here. We say that what is Buddha Sasana is that this dispensation of Dhamma Vinaya. So Dhamma is teaching, but this Sasana, Buddha Sasana, is not Dhamma on its own, but Vinaya. It's the form also supporting this Dhamma, the passed on to from generation to us. So what is Vinaya? So living in a monastery means we practice Dhamma Vinaya. So the Vinaya, it's just to do with form. And this becomes a challenge. This can trigger certain things, just like area of Nawaka, Majjhima, Thera, that kind of status. I want to become, or I don't want to, I hate this. There's all rules. And often precept is mostly, almost always, restricting. Right now, people recite it. I undertake the precept to refrain from. Like I do this. No, refrain from. So that clearly the element of restriction. You can't do this. And if you hear monks have 227 rules, wow, you can't do anything. You're just like a caged. So, but I don't have to go to the detail, but the perception and the initial experience of the precept is like being confined, even caged. How can I do? I don't have any freedom, but I have to follow. I have to limit myself. So often, first experience of each precept is one of being confined, something similar. But then, as we live with the precept, then we start to learn at least the way how I see it is, we start to appreciate it as it's something to protect us. Protect us. For instance, what is a good one? Maybe eating. You talked about 8 precept. We can't eat in the evening. So first, it can be a big challenge. Well, I can't eat in the evening. That's the best something. I always look for dinner. So some people or many people, when you come to the monastery, well, I don't have an evening meal. That can I manage? So it's just a source of joy, source of pleasure that you have to give up. But once you become used to it, I said, you start to feel protected. I'm not just simply protected from unnecessary eating, overeating. And if you are surrounded by the food, and if you have access to it, either money or refrigerator is in front of you, and if you hunger, you eat, or you don't have to feel hunger, but just, don't know what to do. Maybe I eat this, I eat that. So, but because of the precept, we simply no access. So initially you feel like, I can't, I miss it. That feeling is quite possible, but slowly we start recognize, actually, I do not have to do it. Even protected from something unnecessary or possibly something dangerous too, depending on what precept we are talking about, thinking about. And as continues, again, this is the way I would interpret. Initially, something to confine us and then protect us. But as you live with the precept, start appreciate more sense of freedom. Freedom. One example I can think is, again, food is fine or money is fine. You see, in the monastery, actually in the evening, because nobody cooks and nobody eats, so it's like maybe we feel genuine hunger or just a habit. If you're just new to the monastic environment, the habit after 5 o'clock, 7 o'clock, just the body and the mind says, oh, this is the time to eat. So sense of hunger is possible. But if you go to town, if you go to London, or we don't have a television here, which is already quite old media, so if I talk about the television, people, I don't know how people relate to that, but if you see the advertisement, food, for instance, or, okay, if I go to a big town, actually, when I am Amaravati, I hardly leave the monastery, even to London, going to London once a year, possibly. But when I am in Japan, I do a lot, visiting cities and sort of exposed to commercial culture. And yes, for instance, food. In the evening, or you don't have to wait for the evening. Advertisement is there, or smell, or somebody is talking about. If you see the advertisement, is often how tasty, how beautiful, all these kind of things. And talking about the food, smell comes, and then sometimes a picture comes. And then a big advertisement of the restaurant that if you hear the name, or you know what it's like, and the body can react to that. And so if you are still new to the monastic form, if you go to the town, if you experience this, you really start feel frustrated, or I can say difficult, but you've been this form long enough, I know now that access is totally impossible. I don't have to think, I don't have to remember what is my precept, but because I've been like this quite some time. So after midday, okay, nothing to do with me. Or I don't have any access to money. So if I go to the cities and then going, well, for instance, if I go through the shopping street, wow, so many things can come to contact with my eyes or smell and sometimes sound too. But similar way, okay, that's it. Because if you don't have a 10 precepts, and if you have a money or you don't have a money, but usual way of walking through the street is, I want to have. Can I have it? Do I have enough money? So you are already in the middle of the consumer culture or materialistic culture. I want to. Can I have? Do I like it? This is good. Lots of thinking, starting from the desire. Can I do it? This is too expensive. Can I afford? I have many. So lots of story start from there. But for me, right, really nothing to do with me. Even if it's the most beautiful thing, most attractive things, something very fantastic, but I know this is nothing to do with me. So the funny thing is if I walk the street, it's not like I don't feel anything. But okay, something, wow, what is this? I haven't seen, because advertisement or something displayed in the show window, they put in a way really stimulates our mind, attracts. Let's say they want to make us buy, purchase. Sorry, nothing to do with me, but at least it stimulates my mind. And then if there's no precept, that story continues, or actually story starts there. Desire arises, okay, Vedana, feeling arises. Often I like it. And then desire, I want to have it. Then, do I have money? That kind of long story, possibly painful story happens. But to me, because the precept, Vedana, wow, this is beautiful. Wow, this is very nice smell. bit challenging, possibly, but there stops. It's not like I have to stop, but initially maybe if you are new to this lifestyle, maybe you struggle. That's why too much exposed to the lay world is not safe, more confusing, more than challenging. But once you really settle this form, you don't have to think, but very clear sense, okay, nothing to do with me. And yet this feeling arises, wow, this is beautiful. And as if very much separated. The mind is here, object is there, okay, feeling arises. Maybe if I want to, what is like the tanha, desire, craving is like. So it's another way I can say, another way to say is, I feel safe to feel feelings. Fear to say possibly beginning of the desire. But I know the precept is there. The story doesn't go there. So it's almost like a genuine opportunity to learn how the mind works, how the mind responds, reacts. So this is what I mean, having a precept. Mind start appreciate the freedom. It's not freedom, doesn't mean you don't have a feeling, when I see this, that I don't feel anything. At least I'm not like this. If I go to Tokyo or big cities, wow, I haven't seen this. What is this? That kind of things naturally happens. But I know mind stop there. So it's a quite, of course. If I stay there too long, my mindfulness is not that strong and my mind becomes more exhausted. I know that. So it's not like, okay, I have a precept, I can live in the middle of the big cities always. No. Of course, this is not wise. But to some degree, because of the, let's say, virtue of precepts, I do not have to have suffering. Instead, the contact with the world becomes a source of understanding, even to the sense of freedom. I repeat again, freedom doesn't mean we don't feel anything, but I can feel, I can have feelings, I can have Vedana, but I don't have to suffer. So this is quite a freeing experience. So precept, once you come to the monastery, Vinaya, so it's a quite this, you can't do this, we have to learn this kind of things as a convention, as a form, we need to learn. It's a long process. It's a process of commitment, even surrender. And it's true, initially we feel resistance, but slowly, taste changes, and hopefully to have even the sense of freedom. Like Rumpo Pasano, he was at one of the Vinaya question session, or I don't remember exactly when, but when he was asked, and those Vinaya rules, detailed things, but I don't have to think, or Vinaya itself, you don't have to think so much, but it is just like I'm just, Vinaya is almost like embodied in himself. So it's not like a struggling, working, how to follow the Vinaya rules, how to be in the Vinaya boundary. Not like this, like a total sense of at ease with the Vinaya. So this is something when I with Rumpo Pasano or any elders who are in the form long time, I can learn that the sense of at ease. I repeat again, form can be a challenge. Form can be a burden, even to cause us doubt or heaviness or the rest. But but not about the thinking, but having seen, having been with these those who are in the form long time, and that's a really clear sense of at ease. So then this unusual form of being a monk, being a nun, being a samana, okay, I do not have to worry. This is, as I hope, this is a very beautiful form. I really, in a way, through those beings, I feel very encouraged and even reassured. Also, so I'm talking about being in a monastery and being in a monastic form. What is very unique is we are mendicant. It's not like having a money and we exchange we get the service or some material, but we supported by the generosity of people, which is very, very unique. And then second, we live with the Vinaya. We live with the very defined moral standard too. So what it means is, this is why this place feels so peaceful and safe. We do not have to worry. Nobody comes to us to say, take advantage of us, from the violence to stealing to, of course, different personalities, misunderstanding, that kind of thing still happens. But we know nobody has intention to do something unskillful, unwholesome to others, because we keep precept. And everybody has a sincere wish to realize the liberation. Nothing else. So that's we share. So that's why if you go outside the monastery, unfortunately there are more things. Is it safe? Somebody comes to take advantage of us. We need to approve ourselves. We need to defend ourselves. It may be necessary. But here, because the precept, and also this place is supported by the goodness of people. So that's why naturally once we come here, peaceful, safe, protected. And then yes, we can say very conducive to practice. But as all of us know, do we experience happiness, peace always? Not at all. And most of the time, often, it may become as a pressure cooker, and lots of old condition may come up, or through human interaction, or as I said, because of the Vinaya structures, where from various reasons our mind reacts in different ways. You can say defilements, likes and dislikes. You can describe in various ways to describe our state of minds. One way to see it is, tonight I need to stop talks very soon. We can think of nivarana, hindrances. This itself is a big subject, but just what we experience every day is actually occurrences of these hindrances, if you like. Likes and dislikes, or this feeling, these ideas, but also in the light of 5 hindrances. What are those 5? Sensual pleasure, ill will, sloth and torpor, or drowsiness, and restlessness, doubt. And this is what hinders our mind. Or when it is translated to the Chinese translation, Chinese letter, they use as a lid or cover. So it covers our mind. And as you live in the monastery, these words, these concepts start become more familiar. Or when you meditate, you start to see more detailed or even subtle state of mind. We start to see, yes, this is actually happening in our mind. But when I think of these 5 hindrances, actually, when you live in a world outside, these 5, almost we never, this is my way of saying it, almost they don't pay attention to them as a hindrances. Because sense pleasure, yes, for us once we meditate, sense pleasure, yeah, I want to, this one hinders our mind. But if you go to the city advertisement, as I said, this is beautiful, this is tasty, this is convenient, this is nice, come on, more, to just stimulate sense pleasures, to get more money. So this is, if I simplify the society, it's really about the sense pleasure, more. So if you say, oh, be careful of the sense pleasure, it hinders our mind, you can't do the business. It's a totally different way the world functions. But once you come to this peaceful environment, once we come to learn what is peace, What is mind? Okay, sense pleasure, how it affects our mind. We start to notice. Number 2, ill will. Nobody likes anger. We say this. In the monastery, we don't have to talk so much, but in the society, is this the case? Particularly like a righteous anger. He is wrong. This is not right. We can't forgive. We have to make it. So it's like a maybe anger we can think as something painful, but actually on the top of that, righteousness of who is strong, that aspect of a human life is so strongly pronounced. So ill will, anger, this kind of thing is what hinders us. It's a difference, possibly different, but once you come to the monastery, once we come to see danger of the samsara, know what is right, however right is, however significant is, but once you're trapped in anger, it's not right. So it's totally different way to see the life, totally different way to put the value. If you live in the world, who is right possibly matters. And because of that, anger or ill will may not be noticed as a cause of root cause of suffering. You can't see it, So, and then I have to close the talk. 3 more. You said as restlessness. Once you come to the monastery, living in a monastery, it is so peaceful. So that's why, okay, I'm so restless. We can notice. But now I can oversimplify things, but modern society has very strong element of restlessness. I remember almost 35 years ago, I was living in a remote monastery in Thailand, forest monastery in Thailand. And I was talking with a senior monk, Thai monk there. And he was talking about Japan. And then particularly those days, if I use the word developed country and a developing country, Japan was regarded as a developed country. Thailand was still developing country, and then often for Thai people, they saw Japan as, I want to go there, so much material wealth, and then develop a nice country. So it's a kind of object of nice place. We want to be like this. So like a sense of adoration. But this teacher, Thai senior monk, said, Japan, ญี่ปุ่นเป็นประเทศฟุ้งซ่าน I said in Thai, it means Japan is restless country. So I was expecting what he would say, but then restless country. Initially, a bit of surprise, but it gave me a totally different context how to see not only Japan, but modern society or modern civilization, restless. So we maybe the modern society is the middle of the restless. We never see it as it's what hinders the mind. Just one after another. What next? How much more? This is not enough. What next? Something new. This is getting bored. When? What? How? So this is very strong energy drive in a society. So restlessness. But once you come to the monastery, we start recognizing actually peaceful mind. And then restless is something extra to us. And so that kind of learning. But there's doubt and sleepiness, sloth and torpor. will become very long talk. Sloth and torpor, or drowsiness, in a way, not in a way, often people talk about we can't sleep, insomnia, or mind is so agitated, how can I sleep well? That's possibly a very different story. But once again come to the monastery, why Rinpoche said, tonight is night for midnight vigil. Actually, what Pabon tradition nowadays getting less and less, but whole night sitting is common. But like when I was a junior monk, that was how we've been practicing. So why do we do this? Sleepiness. What is sleepiness? Or tina mitta in Pali word. So I was taught what is tina mitta or sloth and torpor is sanya kropngamchit, which means sanya covers the mind. So we think sleepiness is just like maybe energy, living 20 hours a day. Now we use up the energy, so we become tired, so that we fall asleep. But actually, what we have exactly is not just energy, body need a rest, but if we think of the mind, sanya kropngamjit, the ideas, images, memories, that comes to cover the mind. Like when you sleep, often the study of science says when we are sleeping 6 hours, 8 hours, but so-called genuine sleep is only small part of it. Many part is the mind is thinking, or usually we're saying is dreaming, seeing the visions, following the stories, or following the memories, or fantasizing things. So the mind is not really fully resting, but the following. So the same way, sanya kropngamchit. Although we think, okay, sleepiness is just what body needs, but actually, mind, what is sleepiness is because lack of mindfulness, that thoughts, memories, and the ideas and so forth, sanya kanda, comes to cover the mind. And then you start nodding, you start to fall asleep. And when you're in the monastery particularly, if it's outside the monastery, maybe less noticeable, but once we are in this peaceful environment, often mind misses the stimulation. There's no food in the afternoon, in the evening, no television, nothing very exciting. Peaceful, you may say, but possibly boring, no stimulation. So the mind lacking the interest, and then falling into this drowsiness. But this is the habit of mind. If you want to experience what is mind, so we need to learn this element, the hindrance of tina mitta. So that's why Rinpoche has seen the danger of living in a monastery where it is very peaceful, and that people may become lost in drowsiness. What we call peaceful, but just lost in a sleepiness or giving to the laziness or drowsiness. So instead, once a week, cultivating the energy, cultivating the awakeness, and also opportunity to observe actually what is drowsiness. If you, it is a patient process. It takes amount of energy too. But as I repeat again, sanya kropngamjit. Actually, how we fall into sleepiness is when we start follow the stories, when we start follow the images, something like this. And so instead of we just believe sleepiness is something we have to sleep and we become slave of it, but this is also one of the hindrances. So in order to learn, in order to what is a hindrance to our mind and how to cultivate energy, Rinpoche's encouragement, he introduced this weekly practice of Thai word Nisachik, sitter's practice. So if it's here, we only do up to midnight. It depends how you see it. Until midnight, it's still not a big deal. Sorry, but if it's a whole night practice, actually, if you know how sleepiness comes, as I said, how to relate to the thinking, what comes to the mind. So even from the daytime, you become more cautious of what you think, how to relate to people, how to spend your time, apply your mind. Okay, from now it's already 9 something to 2 hours until midnight. You can do almost like a willpower. I can stay at 12 o'clock. You can do this, but longer, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. It's not just that you can't do something willpower. And if you really pay attention how sleepiness, how to be with the sleepiness, how to be awake, what is awareness? It's a big learning. But for instance, how to spend the daytime, the understanding, not understanding, actual the night practice, just start in the daytime, how to spend, how much you talk with people, how sort of, if you just lost in a conversation, this and that, you can survive midnight sitting. But if you're longer, actually how we spend the daytime matters too. And also when the middle of the strong sleepiness, how, if you want to just sit, okay, I want to make it. No, usually just sitting and forced to sit through. Unless you have a very strong mind, it doesn't work. Then you need to be very, very wise, skillful, how to work through sleepinesses. That's why I always say using a posture in a skillful way, walking, or like how to hold a sense of awareness. I want to see the breath, I want to see the subtle statement, and then you fall asleep because mind is not strong enough yet. So then how to do it, almost like a widening the sense of awareness, as it were. So how to actually be at each moment, you need to learn. You just follow, okay, I want to meditate, I want to focus, therefore I can practice 2 or 3 hours. Doesn't work. What is awareness? How to be awake? You really need to pay attention. You need really commit yourself to what to do throughout the day. So it is a quite rich area. We can learn a lot. Subject started to change. I can talk about the night practice, but these kind of things, once you come to the monastery, it's very different things we start to learn. Sleepiness in a society, sleepiness in the monastery, it's a different thing. So this is another example. I stop here, but in the monastery we have the Vinaya forms to follow, but also we really start to see what is a mind, subtle to challenging ones, very old habit of how the mind is, particular way of thinking. I cannot change this. This is very important. Other things I can understand about this is very important. That kind of very deep conditioning may come up. And it appears as, in a way, hindrances or whatever you call it. But this is, in a way, expected. It's not like I come to the monastery, I talked about in the light of hindrances. So come here, okay, practice not to experience hindrances. I'm not saying this, but hindrance is our human condition. Mind can manifest in the 5 areas, but how to be with it is what we need to do. Not like remove all of them, not have anything. Just like an example of when you have, I talked about the precept, when you go to the town, I don't feel anything, my mind doesn't move at all. No, when I see something interesting, mind moves, but because of the virtue of the precept, I don't have to go there. Mind simply remain in the middle, centered, and can enjoy freedom. The same way, 5 hindrances can arise. Almost living in a monastery is designed to be so. You can call pressure cooker or anything. So challenges, difficulties are part of our journey, but it's not like we should not have it, but how to be with it. Where is the right place? Where is the safe place? Where is the refuge? Or just a word to see the danger of the samsara. How do we apply this word to this experience? So like a Lumpos Meadows teaching, he teaches, in my way of saying, it's a single thing, awareness. Yes, maybe intellectually we can understand, or in practice we may think understand, but once we experience this kind of challenges, 5 hindrances or strong feelings, strong views, then this is a time, this challenge time. What is awareness? What is the safe place? Where is our refuge? Do we see this as a danger in the samsara? Or just we identify ourselves, or I cannot do this, this is really... So just we become lost in identity with certain feelings and thoughts. So I should stop now. So this evening I talked about monastic form, particularly I started with Nawaka, Majjhima, Thera, because this monastic form or the life in the monastery is a quite special, unique, very different from the world outside. Because it is so different in a unique way, the life here can challenge us, but that is the really part of our learning. And today's theme, the way I'm saying is just remembering who we are, the one who see the danger of the samsara. This gives us a reminder, this gives us a right, proper perspective or perfect perspective to us at each moment when we face any challenges, any situations. Okay. Maybe I speak from here. So this is a half moon night, and a night for midnight vigil. Just as I said, it's only 2 more hours, but every week we have opportunity, and we just say, well, I don't like it, or it's meaningless. I don't get anything. Mind is not peaceful. Mind can take tell anything, but every week we have this opportunity. So whether we apply effort, we show interest, or just dismiss it. Because every week, how many weeks we have per year? And this is not something particular we do, someone is talking about, but this is what we inherited from Rinpoche. So it is out of respect too. And then considering the power of commitment, the power of the continuation of the practice. So this is my invitation for everyone, just once a week, only up to midnight. This is a precious opportunity to practice together. And as I say always, when you come to the temple or leave the temple, please do so in a quiet way. And also, it's not like you have to sit. The quality matters. So that today is a bit raining, but skillfully using posture, quality of our wakefulness is also important. But it's also not just today, but every week, just apply effort, interest in a fresh way.